Honors Algebra. Mr. Lawrence here with your flipped lesson for February 28th, I believe. 2 more days in February. Today and then tomorrow, and then February is gone. This is Honors Algebra, like I said. And we are going to be doing 2 types of factoring. Quickly, we're going to review factoring by grouping. So let me give you a problem right now. Let's go with 6x squared minus 2x plus 15x minus 5. And again, I've told many of you that, your temptation there is to combine like terms, and I'm glad you have that temptation. That's a very good thing to do. In this situation, though, you don't know how to factor trinomials yet. You will learn that very soon, like later in this video. All right. Actually, you learned a little bit of it last night, didn't you? Excuse me. But we're going to learn a more complex form of it. All right. So I want you to go ahead and pause the video and factor this by grouping. If you've unpaused the video at this point, let's see here. We're going to group pairs. Remember, the only rules for grouping the pairs is that they have a GCF in each one. The GCF in here is going to be a 2x, and I'm going to get a 3x and a minus 1. Don't forget that minus 1. All right, plus, don't lose my plus sign, I'm going to pull out a 5. And I'll be left with a 3x minus a 1. Oh, that sounds familiar. Did I repeat myself? I think I did. I think I said a 3x minus 1 twice. And notice they're both in quantities. They're both being multiplied by something. That means they're both factors. And since both this term and that term have 3x minus 1 as a factor, I can say it's a common factor, which means I can GCF it. So I will pull out the 3x minus 1. I'll be left with a 2x right here. And I pull out the quantity of 3x minus 1 over here. I'll be left with a positive 5. And there you go. That's factoring by grouping. You're just GCFing 3 times. It is very simple. Now, by the way, I haven't seen hardly anybody except for Courtney Ozanich from my 3rd period class in for help. You need to come in for help, especially since I'd been gone so much. Can't just learn from the videos 100%. Come in and see me. All right. Now we're going to learn how to factor more trinomials. We're going to be factoring trinomials. And remember, last night we learned the trinomial method. And it's pretty easy, except it gets a little more complicated when a situation like this, where you have 6x squared plus 17x plus 12. This one is more complicated because this lead coefficient's not a 1. So I have more factors to consider. But to organize my work, I'm going to write it down. I'm going to list the factors. First, I'll list the factors of 12. Let's see, I'm going to have 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. I'm going to go over here and list the factors of 6, 1 and 6, and 2 and 3. Now, what I've got to do, and this is the tricky part, is I need to take a pair of factors from 12 and combine them with a pair of factors from 6, as if I'm foiling. So for example, I might do this one here times that one there. If I do that, that forces me to do 6 times 12. Okay? Then I'm going to either add or subtract depending on the signs, my goal being to get this number 17 here. So let me test that. 1 times 1 is 1. And 6 times 12 is 72. And if I add those together because they're both positive, I don't get 17, do I? So that wouldn't be a very smart thing. So let me back up here. All right. I'm going to look for a way to combine the factors of 12 and 6 through multiplication and then adding their products to get the number 17. All right, I know I'm going to be adding, because remember yesterday I said if this guy is positive, we're adding. Let's see here. I can get an 8 and a 9. Do you see the 8 and the 9? 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 3 is 9. And 8 times 9 is 17. Positive 17. So this, now that I know that, I've done the hard part. This is how this factors. Check this out. Okay, I'm going to have 2 quantities, right? These are my x terms, right? So I need a 2x and a 3x. Does that look familiar? It should. Now, I know the 3 got multiplied by the 3. Well, when I'm foiling, 3 would go here. Those would be my inners. The 2 got multiplied by the 4. Those would be my outers. Okay. This is positive, which means both signs are going to be the same. Both are going to have this sign right here. There you go. I can check my work by foiling it. If I foil, I'll get 6x squared for the first. My inners will turn into 9x. My outers will turn into 8x. That'll be 17x when I combine them. And then my last will be 3 times 4, which is 12. All right, I know that's the first time, and somebody's going, wait, what? Slow down. No, look, you got to know your multiplication facts. Okay? The days of just saying I used a calculator are over. You've got to have basic understanding of your multiplication tables. I've been warning you that this day would come. Oh, silly Mr. Lawrence, I'm giving you the answer. All right, let's see. Let's say I have a 5x squared plus 34 minus 7. Well, I'm going to start this one the same exact way. My lead coefficient is not 1. My last coefficient is not 1, so I have to list all their factors. 1 and 5, 1 and 7. Notice I didn't pay attention to the negative. I do know this negative means I'm going to have 1 positive, 1 negative. Well, positive and a negative, in the sense, will be subtracting. So after I've done my multiplication, I'm going to subtract. I'm going to subtract to get positive 34. All right, I want to subtract to get positive 34. Well, I know that 5 times 7 is 35. I also know that 1 times 1 is 1. And 35 minus 1 equals positive 34. I have my factors. I'm ready to put them in their quantities. Draw my 2 quantities. I got a 1 and a 5, but they're not 1 and 5, they're 1x and 5x. So I'll do a 1x and a 5x. Now I have to be careful where I put my 1 and my 7. My 5 goes with the 7. My 5 goes with the 7. All right, my 1 goes with the 1. My 1 goes with the 1. Now I have to watch my signs. They're not going to both be positive. One has to be negative, and if I look right here, I know which one's negative. The 1. And then 35 needs to be positive, and there we go. And again, you can FOIL for extra practice. All right. Let me see here. Got one more example for you. And this will be, I'm doing it again. I'm writing down the answer. 14x squared minus 29x minus 15. All right, I'm going to list the factors of 14. 1 and 14, 2 and 7, 1 and 15, 3 and 5. I have all my factors. Now I'm going to combine them using subtraction. How do I know it's subtraction? Because this guy is negative. The last term is negative. All right, going to combine them using subtraction to get negative 29. Now, let's be logical. We don't have to go through every possibility. I mean, am I going to waste my time multiplying 14 times 15? No, that's going to be a humongously large number. 1 times 1 is only 1. There's no way I'm going to subtract 1 from this humongous number in the hundreds or 200s to get negative 29. So I'm not going to waste my time with that. I'm going to go more towards the middle. And, you know, I see I have, well, let's see, 21 and 10. 7 times 3 is 21. 2 times 5 is 10. Oh, that's not going to get me 29. Okay, so let me try this. Let me try 5 times 7. That's 35. And then I need a 2 times a 3. That's 6. And I know that negative 35 plus 6 equals negative 29. Or I could have said 6 minus 35 equals negative 29. All right, there we go. We've got our factors. So I'll do my quantities. There's 2x and a 7x. The 2 is going with the 3. The 2 is going with the 3. The 7, oh no, I don't know what to do. The 7 goes with the 5. Now I have to look. Do I want the 6 to be positive, the 2 times 3x, the 2x times 3? Or do I want the 35 to be positive, 5 times 7x? Well, it looks like the 35 here is negative. So I'll make the 5 negative and the 3 positive, and there we go. I have factored. All right, there's one last thing I want you to do, and I'm going to put a URL up. This is on YouTube. It is not required, but it is pretty cool. Hold on one second. Let me get the URL. Okay, I'm not going to post the URL, but here is the video. You can find this on YouTube at Teach Me How to Factor. Okay, that should be the video. If you want to check that out on YouTube, you just go to type in a search on Teach Me How to Factor, and you want the Westerville South High School. It's a parody of Teach Me How to Dougie. All right, have a good night, everybody.